In it comes. There goes the shot on goal. It's in. It's in. Jamie Dwyer.
Heavy lifting. Goes up to Graham. Takes the lead. Looks a winner. Draws away from
The Australians have just broken the American stranglehold on this race.
This episode has a little bit of an extra special meaning to it because late in 2023, I had the privilege of interviewing Australia's first world champion in the women's pole vault. And the images we saw when Nina Kennedy and Katie Moon decided to share that gold medal felt really special. And what it meant to Nina was amazing. So there I was chatting to her for the wide world of sports, and it was such a privilege. I was so thrilled and proud to speak to a fellow West Australian who made history. But to be completely honest, that interview changed the way I approached my work and to an extent the way I approached life, because I got into this line of work to share the stories behind the athlete. And sport brings us so much joy and often distraction from a complex, sometimes exhausting world. And I feel so grateful to those athletes who inspire us. But when Nina spoke to me about what makes her tick, the passion for her sport, her drive to be better as a person, and the value she has for herself, regardless of what she does or does not achieve, I had this realization of how important this concept is for so many people to hear, and adults and kids alike, because this is fundamental to being alive. My success does not define me. It was honestly so powerful when I heard her say that, which is why I then decided to explore this concept a little further and decided to do it with some of our country's best athletes and Olympians, both, as I said, past and aspiring. And I'm so grateful to have been able to do this. So I would like to introduce to you a Commonwealth Games gold medalist, Australia's first ever women's world champion pole vaulter, a really quality person and the inspiration behind this whole series. So Nina Kennedy, welcome and thank you for coming on.
That was such a long intro.
I know.
It was so nice. No,
Sorry.
Thanks for having me.
But I had to sort of explain that because I can't tell you enough. Like when I was doing that interview, I was like, okay, there's something to this. Like
so cool.
the value of the things you said in that interview. I was like, this people need to hear this because you are on this journey, which is really inspiring, but there's so much more to it than what we're about to see in Paris, right?
Oh gosh, there's so much more that people don't see. But yeah, no, thank you.
I love it. So I can't wait to delve into the story. But let me start with this. Of all the accolades you've achieved, last year you were awarded the Herb Elliott Medal, which is for the most inspirational performance by a Western Australian athlete. How does that sit with you? Do you feel inspiring to people?
How do I answer this? No, I don't. Like deep down, I'm like whatever. This is my job. This is what I do. But I think when I step outside and get a different perspective, then it's like, yes. Like I'll have people coming up to the street, like to me on the street and be like, oh, by the way, like my 3 daughters like love you. Like you're such an inspiration. So I think when I have moments like that, it's like, you know what? Like I kind of am a little, I don't know. It sounds weird coming off the tongue, but yeah, I can appreciate that.
It's awesome. And I can understand that because having chatted to you a few times, I can tell that you're quite humble. So maybe it's harder to say, but that sounds cool that you have that little acknowledgement.
Oh, of course. Like it's so cool.
Yeah, amazing. Look, I usually try and work chronologically through these things and then I get distracted by a certain answer and then we just divert. But I will try and at least start at the start. What cannot be disputed is that you're a proud West Aussie.
Yeah.
But, and I love that, but do you consider yourself a country girl?
Well, I don't want to diss on Bustleton here. But, you know, I was born in Bustleton and I moved up to Perth when I was like 7 or 8. So, you know, I spent a little bit of my life there. So I think I mentioned that on one of my interviews and I think Bustleton have just kind of like run with it and they're like, oh, Bustleton girl. And it's like, like yes and no. But yeah, I'm definitely like from Perth.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up in Perth and yeah, I call Perth home.
Love that. Whenever you like Google, you know, when I'm preparing for these sort of things, it's like you see all the local Bustleton like papers and stuff like that, and they just love it. They're
love
like,
it.
our girl Nina.
And like, good on them. Like, why not?
Okay, born in Bustleton. How did you find your way into athletics?
I basically just like loved sports day. You know, I wasn't
Yeah.
very like academic. I wasn't into music. Sports was like my thing. So every year when sports day would come around, I was like, yes, this is my jam. Like loved it, dressing up in like your faction colors. And from there, I was like, you know what, I like this. I'm good at it. Mum, can you please take me down to Little Athletics?
Yeah.
So I joined a Little Athletics club when I was under 11s.
Okay.
Would have been 10. And yeah, the journey kind of started from there.
Amazing. What faction were you in?
Oh, I was in green at the beginning.
Yes.
And then I went to this primary school, and there weren't factions. That were like the rivers were the factions. So it was like Swan River, Avon River, Canning River.
Did they have colours?
Yeah, but
Right.
It was like blue and green. It was a bit random, but I was in Canning. Anywho, that doesn't matter. But
No, I love it.
bit random.
I was green. I was green as well
Oh,
in primary
cool.
school. Yeah, all
Yeah.
about it. So you moved to Perth at 8 years old, did you say? Seven or eight?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
Where'd you go to school? I mean, where did you go to high school?
I went to PLC.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to high school there.
And how do you reckon your teachers would describe you if I was to ask them right now? How would you describe Nina Kennedy?
That's a really good question, because a part of me was like the really naughty kid.
Oh.
Like I would be kind of kicked out of class, and like
No way.
Yeah, I was really naughty. But I think, when I went to high school and matured, I was a bit more like, I don't want to say like I was put into a box as like the athletics girl, but
Yeah.
I was, I did less ATAR subjects, and like a lot of the year I was away traveling, competing. So
Yeah, right.
I think the teachers would often be like, oh, like sometimes I just wouldn't rock up to class. I'd be like, that's okay. But I had the best high school experience. I was super lucky to go there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I need to ask, what were you kicked out of class for?
I was just sorry to swear, but I was a little shit. Like I was really naughty. I don't know why. I think I just hated schoolwork. I couldn't sit still. And yeah, I just wanted to be doing something active. So,
Yeah. No, I hear that. I got kicked out of year 12 maths class.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just-
It happens.
Yeah, it does, right? Yeah. So growing up, so you then get into athletics. Now, I want to talk about funding in
Yeah.
aths because it's a completely different concept to footy and cricket,
Yeah.
perhaps tennis to an extent, all those
Mhm.
mainstream sports in Perth. Now, your journey and experience with this has probably changed a little bit recently, to coincide with some awesome performances, which is so
Yeah.
deserved. But I imagine for yourself and most of your career, it must have been hard to stay afloat in a sport which is not all that well funded financially.
Yeah, it's funding is such an interesting topic, because like at the end of the day, it's really kind of like fueled by the media and like what's seen as popular.
Yeah.
So, like all the sports you just mentioned, so popular, like well funded. So something like athletics, where a lot of the people, well, a lot of like society only watches it, every 4 years. It's quite hard to get our kind of foot in the door in terms of funding. So I was quite fortunate in terms of I was a really good junior, and I'm just lucky. I was a good junior. So from the age of 17, the AIS and Athletics Australia, so our funding pathway, they saw potential in me, I guess, from a really young age.
Yeah,
So
okay.
from 17, I wouldn't say well funded. It wasn't a full-time wage at all. It was maybe like a quarter of that, maybe.
Yeah.
So I'm still studying. I'm still working part-time, multiple jobs, cafes, all of that, desk jobs.
Yeah.
Until maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, have
Yeah,
I
wow.
really been like, okay, I am now full-time. This is what I do. I don't have to work anywhere else now.
Yeah. And how important has that been? Because, some athletes, like, even in your almost throughout their career, like in some of the disciplines, like I don't know, I'm thinking like your archeries and your, your, to an extent, water polo, like all those sports which aren't as well funded.
Yeah.
How important was it for you to be able to stop working part-time
Yeah.
and just dedicate your life to being the best at your sport?
It was like hugely beneficial. I remember I had this conversation once with a friend, and it was like, this is what I want to do. I want to go to the Olympics. I want to be like the bloody best, but I still kind of have to work, and I still have my foot in a few other things. And we were just like, let's just like stuff it. Like, let's just put all my eggs in this basket and see if it pays off.
Yeah.
And, you know, a few years later it did. And yeah, like, I don't know. It's pretty cool to be like, that's where I started and like, this is where I am now. Like,
Yeah.
and that just makes me like pretty proud. Hey.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you can acknowledge that as well. Well, then I guess it's a perfect time to ask. I mentioned off the top, you are effectively the world's best pole vaulter. How does that sit with you?
It still like feels a little bit weird. Also, just because like we did share the medal.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of people would be like, "You're the best," and it's like, well, I'm like the equal best.
Yeah, yeah.
So like technically, I'm not the best, but no, it does have a very cool ring to it, and I think, you know, it's been quite a few months since that's happened, so
yeah,
it's definitely sinking in.
That's unreal. Look, we're on the eve of an Olympic Games, so and I know the psyche of like an elite athlete is always pushing for more, and always pushing to be better, which is obviously, you know, definitely required. But recently I've had to work really, really hard personally on celebrating my wins, because I think for most of my life nothing was ever good enough, which gets you into a bit of a pattern of feeling like whatever you achieve isn't good enough, you know. So I'm really interested to hear about your balance between wanting to be better but also celebrating what you've done. Have you found that difficult?
Oh, it's, of course. I think everybody finds it difficult. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough. You're not pretty enough. You're not rich enough. Like, everyone has these like not enough stories. So I think as an athlete especially, it's like, if you don't win a gold medal, like, you're not good enough kind of thing. And that's kind of just like instilled into like most sporting codes, right? If you don't win a premiership, you're not good enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something I've really, really had to work on. And I think, like you said, celebrating your little wins, like, it definitely helps, but it also doesn't stop me like aiming high. And I also think we could talk about like the controllables and the non-controllables. So like, you have goals. My goal is to win an Olympic gold medal, but I think expectations are different. So a lot of the time I can't control, like, if I'm going to win, I can't control what my competitors are going to do, but I can have expectations on myself. So what am I expecting from myself on the day is to jump my very best. And at the end of the competition, if I do that, if I meet my expectations and I come third, then I haven't reached my goal, but I've reached my expectations, and I can look back and be damn proud of myself.
I love that. I really do love that. And I suppose leading on from it, as humans, I think we're geared to, like, we love control, right? We don't like the unknown.
Yeah.
We don't like to know. We do like to know what is coming, and we don't like it when there is an unexpected. How do you deal with the unknown? So, like, what do you do as an athlete leading in going, I don't know what anyone else is going to jump. I just know what I'm going to do. Like, how do you deal with uncertainty?
I think it comes back to almost like what I just said. Like, I want to win so badly. Like, I wanted to win world champ so badly. And that anxiety and the unknown of like the months, the years, the weeks leading in, you don't know how everyone else is going to jump, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of just have to sit with it. Like, as uncomfortable as it is, you just need to sit with it. And something that really calms me down is what I just said, like, focus on what you can control. And if you do that, then like, great.
Yeah.
You know, anxiety and worry and stress and all that only really comes in if you're focusing on things that you can't control, e.g. what the competitors are doing, e.g. the weather, e.g. like who's in the crowd. So if I can control my things, my cues, my jump, which I know so well, then that just lowers my anxiety so much.
Yeah, right. So seems like a good time to explore it now. Let's go to last year. It was Budapest, wasn't it?
Budapest.
Yeah, Budapest. So I think, well, that's certainly something that should be celebrated. And amazing. You ended up sharing the gold medal at the World Championships with Katie Moon, who was a trendsetter, like has been a trendsetter of that event, right? And then you joined her there. I feel we saw the best and in a way like the worst of people as well from what happened after that. So the best was the images we saw of when you and Kate, like that moment where you both came together and you're like, are we doing this? Are we sharing? Or you could like tell, you could see it. And it was amazing. Like we had 2 gold medalists. Like it was It's just awesome. And then in the next few days, I didn't enjoy the keyboard warriors, I guess, who were like, how dare they share this medal? Like, it should be a fight to the death. And they were unable to celebrate two people who had made a pretty brave decision, to be honest. I don't really want to lead the witness. Take me back to that night. How was that night in Budapest and how did it feel for you?
Yeah, it was by far my favorite moment in my career. A lot of probably the second half of that competition genuinely slips my mind. I was so in the zone and so focused that I remember I finished the competition and I had to look at my coaches and I was like, what just happened? Honestly don't know what just happened. I know I've won, but I can't remember what attempts I cleared my heights on or what heights I jumped, what's happened kind of thing. But one of my favorite events, so Katie and I, so basically in the pole vault, there's normally one winner.
Yeah.
And in my 15 years of my whole career, I have never been in that situation where we came a complete draw. That's never happened to me. So for it to happen in the biggest competition of my life, I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
This is wild.
Yeah. So basically you normally go to a jump off or you can share the equal first. So that's what we decided to do.
Because I suppose take us into that moment because it's not easy. You'd been jumping for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
You're starting to get fatigued and, you're reaching heights, which you broke the Australian record. No Australian had ever gone higher.
Yeah, I broke 2 Australian records.
Yeah, love that.
Sorry.
Yeah, throw that in.
It was literally you're right. I was exhausted. And so was Katie. And I think Katie summed it up really well. Our sport isn't safe. It's damn dangerous.
Well, you're basically 5 meters up in the air.
Yeah, we were getting to the point where it was something bad could happen here. But yeah, I don't know. And it wasn't a conscious decision. It wasn't oh, should I jump off or should I take it? It wasn't me weighing up the situations. I didn't even go to my coach to ask what we should do. It was just it felt so right in that moment. And I kind of brought it up and you could just see the relief on her face.
Yeah.
And I was and you could see the relief on my face. And it wasn't even a question. It was we're doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It just felt so natural. And
did it feel liberating?
I don't know. I describe it.
Yeah.
Sorry. But no, it just felt awesome. It was the best.
Yeah. And it's almost it feels you're in that elite environment. You're so used to, you said you'd never been in this position. You'd always had a winner, whether it was you or somebody else in the event you're in. Is it almost this unspoken thing? You're both sitting there going, well, I want it, but I don't want to give in and say, in case she's not thinking it.
Yeah.
And she might have been thinking the same.
I think that's exactly what she was thinking. She was Nina's never won an outright gold medal and I don't want to take that opportunity away from her. And I was thinking, well, Katie's the Olympic champion. She's the reigning world champion. Of course she wants to kind of get this.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was like I said, I kind of just floated the idea and she just grabbed it and I was like, okay, this is what we're doing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome. How did you feel with the backlash?
Yeah.
I've heard you say, and we actually spoke about it as well, Australians, we just got around you. We loved it.
Yeah, the Australians were bloody awesome. They were sportsmanship, the girls. And obviously it was kind of on the back of the Matildas World Cup and Australia was going crazy for women in sport. And then you kind of turn to the American media and it was no, win at all costs. You girls are cowards. You should have kept jumping. And it was I don't know. It was if you're not in the arena, shut up. If you've never tried pole vault, shut up. I don't see you winning a world championship. So I don't know. That's kind of just the attitude I took from it.
Oh, that is brilliant. We just need to isolate. No. I just love that. If you're not in the arena, shut up.
Well,
if you haven't done pole vault, no, because it's true. Nobody's walked in your shoes.
Yeah, I don't know. They've never they've never tried it. They don't know how hard it is. You haven't trained 15 years of your life. I don't know.
I jumped 1 meter one day and it was scary coming down.
It's hard. Yeah. Oh, it's really hard.
So many people see your gold medal, your Australian record.
Yeah.
And it's the same sort of concept with social media, right? Okay. So we're looking at this Nina Kennedy, this very successful athlete, and you're probably getting some external kudos. It's all the good stuff, but there is, as we talked about, there's so much more to the journey than the good stuff. And I know what I've read about some of your down moments, but I don't really want to prompt you. I just want to ask, like, has the journey ever felt too much? Like, has there ever been moments where you're like, nah,
Yeah.
this is cooked?
Yeah. Like, that's a no-brainer. Like, of course.
Yeah.
I think being an elite athlete is one of the hardest, like, most taxing things. It's a privilege to do what we do, but it doesn't come with its hard moments. Probably where my mind is going to one of, like, not the hardest moments, but definitely like a moment that kind of shaped my career was the 2016 Olympics.
Okay.
So I had qualified for the World Championships the year before. So Olympics and World Championships for athletics is on par. They're the same event, basically.
Yeah.
Same qualifying standard. So I had qualified for the World Championships the year before, and I had gone, and kind of everyone assumed that I was going to go to the Olympics the next year, same qualifying standard.
Yep.
You know, my family bought tickets, my cousins bought tickets, my auntie and uncles, like my whole extended family.
No, I can see where it's going. Yeah.
And the next year rolled around and I didn't jump as high, and I didn't jump that qualifying standard. And so, while my family and extended family were like living it up in Rio, I was stuck at home and just like didn't go.
Yep.
So that I think was pretty interesting. They also like came back with like so much merchandise and were like, "Woo, we had so much fun in Rio."
You're like, great, I wasn't there.
So I think that kind of stuck out to me. But in a weird way, I knew that wouldn't be like a defining moment. I knew I wasn't going to quit. I knew I was just kind of going to like get back up and kind of go again.
Yeah.
Something else that stands out would be the COVID year, where the Olympics, the 2020 Olympics, were postponed a year, and there were no competitions on, there was no training. We were kind of just stuck in Perth. So I wouldn't say that was a hard moment, but I'd say that was like a defining moment.
Yeah. Talk about a lack of control. When something like COVID comes around.
Yeah.
Like, okay, again, I probably shouldn't draw on all my experiences because I'm not a friggin' pole vaulter, but I hate a lack of control. Like when my life is planned and then something pops up that's and I wrestle with it. How do you go about dealing with things that are unexpected?
I think let's just like take it to the COVID example. I think, I do want to preface that it was really tough for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But for me, it was almost like this opportunity. And let's say like we're talking about control and like COVID, you can like, for me, it was a decision of like, you could kind of let this ruin you, you could see all the negatives, you could just have a bad time, or like, let's choose to kind of make something of this. When in your life have you ever had like 2 to 3 months of training and you don't have to go to work, you don't have to go to training, you don't have to go to compete, like you have all this free time, like let's make the most of it. And that was the attitude I really try to like go with during COVID.
Yeah.
So, those kind of 3 months, I can't really remember how long it was, but that was like a huge moment in my career where I just had the time and the mental clarity to just ask myself some really hard questions, because the world around me wasn't buzzing.
Yeah.
And like as soon as everything calmed down, it was like, oh my God, like I can hear myself think.
Yeah.
And I asked myself some questions like, who am I? Why am I pole vaulting? What do I want to get out of the sport? So just some tough questions, and it kind of really allowed me to have some purpose moving forward into my career.
Did you come out of that with a stronger identity?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I figured out my values. I figured it out, who I wanted to be in the sport, what I wanted to get out of the sport, why I was pole vaulting. So, yeah.
It's unreal. I think some people go through their whole life without those questions.
I agree.
That's really awesome. I think before I move on from the sort of hardships, what is it like? I like to take lessons, or at least share lessons. Like people are looking up to you, and so to get through hard times, what is it that you do? Like, what's at the forefront of your mind when you're met with an obstacle? I suppose I'm asking you how do you think your way through it? whether it's injury, COVID, like
Yeah.
what's the first thing?
I think like it really obviously depends on the context, but I think like I kind of just spoke about, it's like a lot of the time you really do have a choice of how you react to this.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get an injury and it's like, oh, you could wallow and you can be upset, and it's like, yeah, you can do that for a little bit, but let's choose how I'm going to react to this. Let's learn from this. Let's be better from this. Okay, why did this injury happen? What was I doing? Could I have prevented it? Let's do different rehab from last time. So like just being better and taking that mishap as an opportunity to grow and basically be better.
Yeah.
So you really do have a choice in everything that kind of happens, right?
Okay. And that is, I think that's critical. Like that's, and that transcends, that's not just sport, right?
No,
Something
it's
happens,
life.
you do have a choice.
Yeah, of course. And I also think just, this is going to sound so blasé, but just having an overarching attitude of like, things are going to work out. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, you have an injury, like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. It's going to work out. So
Right.
just having that general kind of attitude as well.
I've had to adopt a similar thing that like, not everything's going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And it's okay to, it's okay. Sometimes things are going to be shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it. You inspire me a lot, which is why a lot of these questions are very philosophical, right? But I also I do live a reasonably laid back life, and I enjoy a stitch up.
Okay. Oh
Very
my
much so.
Yeah. Here we go.
So this is why I had a chat to some people who know you quite well.
Oh,
Okay.
God, yeah.
So I'm just going to run through a few little bits and pieces here. True or false? Sometimes poor training sessions or performances were blamed on Mercury being in retrograde.
Sorry. I'm gonna sound like half true.
I'm told you used to be quite into your horoscopes and your celestial little events
I'm
and
so embarrassed. Mate, yeah, like yes and no. I think with that, it's like sometimes it's like, yeah, if you have a bad competition or a bad training, like it's kind of a joke to just put that blame onto something other than yourself, right? You're just not taking responsibility. So it's kind of a joke, but at the same time, it's nice to shift the blame
Oh
elsewhere.
yeah. Oh, don't get me started on Mercury. That damn thing.
Yeah.
Look, we're so proud of your World Championship performance. We really are. As a West Aussie as well. Like awesome. But was there not a little rock that not many of us knew about, which helped heal your back and get you over that pole?
Oh, you're painting me as like some spiritual freak.
Oh, this is mild compared to what I was told.
Again, like it's just all like tongue in cheek.
Yes.
Like, I've had 2 stress fractures year after year in my back, and kind of as a joke, my partner bought me this like healing rock.
Love it. Yeah.
Like so stupid. And I remember I like told my physio, and he just is like, hey, whatever you believe in, that will like heal your back. So
Love
it's
it.
kind of just like a running joke. But yeah.
I
But
like
yeah, but then in saying that, like I do take it with me to like every competition. So
Okay. I reckon a year ago I would have been like, okay, I've learned a lot recently. I feel that look, whether or not The Rock is actually doing something, who knows?
it's
but
not, let's be real.
but the influence of your mind over your body,
Yeah.
there is like it's unmistakable that there's a link there. So if it puts your mind in a positive place,
Yeah.
surely that's providing some
And
benefit.
the thing is that this rock isn't putting my mind at place. I think what I've learned from this whole thing is my physio is like, if you believe in something, then that has so much power. So just
Yeah.
roll with it. So
Love
we're not
it.
talking about the rock, but like other things in my life
Yeah.
is how I learned that lesson.
Amazing. I need a life hack, Nina. So a Nina Kennedy life hack. When we order our coffee, and it's interesting what I've been told here because I'm looking at you drinking your coffee now, but when we order our coffee, are there any nuggets of wisdom that you can impart on us as to how we can get a better experience? Do you have any idea what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
I know exactly what you're talking about and who has stitched me up. But basically, like if I'm having a normal, flat white, whatever, latte, whatever it is, like I'll take like an hour to drink it. Like I'll take ages to drink it. So if we're going out for coffee, I'm going to order a takeaway cup if we're sitting down.
Mhm.
So then I can kind of take it with me on my day. Because
Okay.
I'll take ages to get through it.
Okay.
So it's not wisdom. It's just like a stupid little thing that I do.
Well, there's also something else to this because I'm told that even if you're sitting down and you're having a dine-in coffee,
Yeah.
you're still going to order it in a takeaway cup because you
Yes.
get more.
Okay, no, that story has been twisted. I'm not a stinge. Like it's taken me ages to drink my coffee. So I just like to take it wherever I go and sip at it slowly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting that you say I'm not a stinge. So I would like you to know these are not my words.
Okay.
You know, I've done my homework and I'm just don't shoot the messenger. We're in a tight economy. All right.
Yeah.
We all understand
Oh,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. We're all feeling the pinch. How would you describe your spending habits? And then I'll tell you.
Okay.
As
I
least.
would say that I'm quite frugal, but I also don't know who's said this. So
Okay. What if, you're going to know immediately. Quote, Nina, maybe I shouldn't quote them.
quote them, don't quote me.
Okay. Nina is such a stinge. When we stayed in Germany, it was 35 plus degrees and she got the rooms without aircon and she wouldn't even go and buy a fan.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Look, that's true. I'm not going to deny that.
Frugal. I like it. Okay. And then the last one. I don't even understand this next one. Can you tell me what an aura ring is? Because I'm told that an aura ring is very important to you and the way that your life runs.
Yes. So an aura ring is
is what you're wearing there?
Yes. So
Okay.
it's like a Whoop or an Apple Watch, but it's like the sleep version. So
Yeah.
it's the best sleep one on the market.
Okay.
It's very big in America, but yeah, this aura ring runs my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm hearing like there's recovery scores, there's like
Yeah.
sleep ratings.
Yeah, super similar to a Whoop, basically. So there's recovery score, there's a sleep score. It tracks your steps, it tracks your daily activity, it tracks your body temperature. It does everything. So it does control me, and I'm okay with that.
Apparently, if you don't, okay, I'm just told that you haven't had a drink of alcohol because you're worried that it's going to wreck your recovery score.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So
how does it know?
This knows everything. And I think anyone who's experimented with some type of wearable would know that, even if you just have like one glass of alcohol at dinner, your resting heart rate skyrockets. Your heart rate variability drops. And that's like kind of not that good. But just like crazy things I've learned about my health that you wouldn't think makes a difference. E.g. one glass of wine, but it like seriously does.
Yeah, right.
So when I kind of like started first wearing this, I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, fun Nina has to go.
Fun Nina.
Yeah, serious Nina is in.
Can I, okay, this is a huge build up. Like you're training your heart out.
Yeah.
Will you post, oh my God, where is it? Paris. Post Paris.
Yeah.
Will you have like a glass of wine?
Yeah,
Like,
oh my gosh, of course I will.
okay, great. Right.
I don't want to say what I'm actually going to do on the microphone, but yeah, I'll be having more than a glass of wine, that's for sure.
I love this. Okay. Now you are an amazing role model, Nina. I've said this a couple of times, but I suppose we can't be perfect at everything. And car safety isn't something that I'm going to be putting you on the poster of. Can you please tell us how you used to leave the old bashed up BMW when you used to drive it and park at training?
So this is, again, a story that has been very, very exaggerated, but I'm just not very good at locking my car. I'm not very good at like car health and safety, I guess. But yeah, I'll just leave it unlocked. I'll leave doors open. Like I'm just a bit
windows down, car still like in park, and the keys in the ignition is what I've been told.
Exaggerated. That's exaggerated. But yeah, windows down, it's okay. Like there's nothing in there to steal. So
I suppose like I don't want to keep this a secret from everyone. Can you answer me this question? Where have most of these little gems of nuggets of wisdom come from?
So my training partner Curtis and my coach Paul, who are both just pranksters and have seriously stitched me up.
Can you I was talking to Curtis and he I just had to send one little message and he's just like, oh yeah, have I got the dirt for you?
Yeah, have I got a note saved? Yeah.
You guys, I imagine, and in all seriousness, I imagine you and Curtis are pretty close.
Oh yeah, like We are, and in a weird way, we didn't used to be close.
Yeah,
I
right.
used to like really not like him, and I think he really used to not like me as well. But in this weird way, we're so opposite that he has really taught me a lot of things that I didn't have, and I've taught him a lot of things that he didn't have, and we've kind of weirdly like come together and just become like really, really great friends. In saying that though, we're also traveling, overseas together for 3 or 4 months of the year, so it's
Yeah.
almost like we have to be
Yeah,
good
yeah.
mates. But honestly, he's one of like my lifelong friends. He's awesome.
It doesn't really surprise me what you've said. So Curtis is also in this series.
Yeah.
And he like the growth that he spoke about from himself. Like
Yeah.
he spoke about what was it called? The post Rio Curtis era.
Oh my gosh,
And he
yeah.
just said, we laughed about it, but he said he was young, and he was
Yeah.
literally young,
Yeah.
but he said he was psychologically young as well.
Yeah.
And the growth that he's reached now, it
Yeah.
sort of is consistent with what you just said. Like he's learned so much, and the maturity just seems to have risen.
Yeah.
I suppose it's the same pathway as yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Post Rio, Curtis was something else, and I did not want to be near him. But yeah, like I think that's kind of the path of any young athlete. Like I said, I was a good junior. I made my first Australian senior team at, 17, 18. Like I was young, and
Yeah.
now I'm 26, 27. And it's like, yeah, that natural kind of progression of maturity is also going to show in your performances
Yeah.
and the athlete you are.
That's awesome. I'm just going to try and steer the ship back now. It's not been all smooth sailing since the Worlds. You have had stress fractures in your back, and it did pull you right back in terms of training as well.
Yeah.
Tell us about the last 6 months, or tell us about the last year, since the Worlds.
Yeah. So in 2022, I finished the season in September, and we got home and we scanned my back. I had a stress fracture.
Yeah.
Rehab that got healthy. 2023, won world champs, came home in September, scanned my back again, another stress fracture, same spot, but worse this time.
Uh-huh.
So it was kind of like, you could kind of look at this two ways. Damn, why me? Why is this happening? Like, like so annoying. Or you could kind of take the path of like, you know what? This exact thing happened last year. And it turned out pretty well. I became world champ. Like, maybe this is a good omen. Not to get all weirdly spiritual
Love
again.
that. Yeah,
but
get the rock out.
Yeah, get the rock out. No, just choosing how I'm going to respond to that. So, again, I try to take that positive path. I had some time off training, just really let that bone heal. Bone, takes 6 weeks to 3 months to kind of heal. This kind of from start to finish took about 3 months to heal. So,
Yeah.
had to stay still a lot of the time. All my kind of post season holidays were kind of just like put a little bit on the back burner. I couldn't
Yeah.
really have much fun, but it was kind of all worth it for, the Olympics. It comes around every 4 years. And yeah, to be fair, it's healed. Training is going really well. And yeah, we're only 4 months out now. So it's creeping up very, very quickly.
Yeah. So we're on the eve of Paris. How are you feeling? I mean, this is like my most superficial question, but
Yeah.
we are interested because we want to know
Yeah.
how you're going.
No, you know what? Like everyone's been asking me, like it's not a superficial question at all. It's a great question. If I'm honest, I am so damn excited.
Amazing. Yeah.
And in a weird way, this is probably one of the first competitions or seasons where I've really had that attitude of like, I'm excited. I want to go see what I can do.
Yeah.
Like, the world is kind of my oyster. Like, let's just roll the dice and see what happens. So really, really excited.
Yeah. Awesome. We have almost reached the final 2 questions, by the way, which are Nina Kennedy curated. So these final 2 questions, which every guest in this series gets, and that's because of you. But there is one extra one that I want to know from you. So I want to ask you about the concept of external validation. We kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but more specifically, we're in a world which it sometimes honestly, it doesn't sit too well with me sometimes. External validation, like likes, followers, opinions, that sort of thing. I saw it so intensely as a teacher. I was a teacher for 5 years. The first thing that kids would often talk about is like, wanting to get views on their videos, or like, oh, you're talking to such and such, and they've got a blue tick, like, and not to me, like they're talking amongst themselves about that. I even had a couple of like really in-depth conversations about how they feel growing up in that world. And it was confronting to hear what they said, like, especially the girls, like they're aware of it. And it's so, people are reaching and yearning for this superficial validation and this external validation. So where are you at with this concept, and how secure are you with yourself? And I suppose, what does it do to you? Because you are in this position when you get all these likes, all these reactions of everything you've done. Where are you at with self-security?
It's such a good question, and it's like such an important topic. Like, it's just crazy to hear that kids are talking about that, and they're, the thing is that they're aware of it. Like, that's probably the first step to kind of not feeling that pressure. Something that really helped me with this was, I can't remember when it was maybe like 4 years ago. I was like, I didn't really need to have a social media presence. I deleted my Instagram and all my social media for maybe like 4 months.
Okay.
And it really just helped me, I guess, like, not need the external validation, coming in from likes and comments and all that stuff. And I really just had to like sit with myself and my family and my friends. And basically I had no like connection to the outer world. And I think that really was like the start of my path of like understanding this concept and understanding that self-worth comes from the inside, not the outside, which is the external validation. So that was probably
100%.
the biggest thing that helped me. Where am I at now? I think it's a hard one because everyone feels it.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to answer the question, but I do know that at the end of the day, the only person's opinion, or the only people's opinions that matter are the people who are closest to me and the people who actually know my journey.
Yeah.
My friends, my family, my training environment. They're the only people's opinions I really care. So why am I listening to old mate commenting on my photos that say you shouldn't have like shared the medal? Like, mate, I don't know you. I don't care. You don't know my story. You don't know my context. Like, so I don't really know if that answers the question.
No, it does. It does.
Yeah.
So I think like I'm asking this question to you from the perspective of a teacher who hears these kids say it. And so I'm like, okay, you have all these followers. So you are superficially what these kids want is where you are. And so to hear you say that, like, it's like, the important people are the ones who are not commenting on that. It's your family and your friends. Yeah. I think you absolutely have answered it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, like, they're the people in your lives. Like, they're the people you genuinely love and care about. Like, you want to make them proud. You want to make them happy. Like, that's actually what matters. And
it is wild that we can fall into the trap of trying to impress these people we will probably never meet. Yeah. That we barely know.
Yeah.
That is really cool. All right, here we go. The Nina and Kennedy inspired final 2 questions.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and you and I have kind of discussed this before, but it is, for me, it's probably the most important one. Success in media and sport. Right? It can so often be based on winning. As I figure out my own journey, like particularly of late as well, I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true at all, in fact. And of course, the World Championships was a success. We love that. But what does success really mean to you? Yeah. What does success look like?
Success for me is like basically what I allow it to be. I don't allow it to be the medals, the winning. Of course, like I said before, they're goals, but that's not my version of success. So my version of success is, like I said, making my friends proud, making my family proud, making the people who are closest around me proud, going out to the competition and like giving it my best shot, giving it a red hot crack. Being able to say like I've done my absolute best and that's all I can ask for, and if I've met those expectations, then great, that's my definition of success. Yeah. And I said before, if I do everything I can and I leave it all out the line and I don't win an Olympic medal, then I'm still going to be proud of myself because I really can't control what the competitors are doing and what the competitors are jumping. Of course, I'm going to be disappointed because I didn't reach a goal. But again, I met my expectations, and that's all I can ask for. And that is my definition of success.
Amazing. Have you seen Ted Lasso?
Oh, I love Ted Lasso.
Oh my God. So I just hear this. All I can hear is, that, what's he say? He's like, we have this value regardless of what we do or don't achieve.
Yeah.
You just like shout that at me. Like that's what I hear from you. Like, is that accurate?
Yeah, no, of course. For anyone who likes to talk about like mindset in sport or just, values in sport, Ted Lasso, the TV series, is just like the best place to get it in the weirdest way possible.
It is.
I've watched it like 3 times.
It is incredible. It is honestly the best show I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's awesome.
With everything we've spoken about today, and this is it, you've reached the final question.
Yay.
You're a young female athlete in a position of influence,
Mm-hmm.
in a complex world as well. So with the knowledge, experience, and the lessons that you've taken on this journey, what does Nina Kennedy say to a young person who is forging their way? And it could be any context, like perhaps a high school student scrolling their way through Instagram or a young athlete thinking, I want to be an Olympian.
Yeah.
What is it important for you to tell them?
God, you've really hit me quite a hard question, haven't you?
Right in the feels.
This is going to probably not, blow anyone's mind, but I look back on my kind of journey in my career, and there are a few things that I would have changed. And one of them would be, I wish I just had fun. Like, I wish I just purely enjoyed what I was doing. I've been to some amazing countries and, I haven't competed so well, and that would just put me in the worst mood for weeks. And I didn't actually like enjoy my experience. And at the end of the day, I can say this now because I've been pole vaulting for 15 years, but my fondest memories are the ones where I just had fun and I enjoyed it. And I think, like that's the most important thing, is just like enjoying what you do and having fun.
No, yeah, I love it. And
Yeah.
I'm actually so excited by that because probably about 10, 15 minutes earlier, I asked you, how are you feeling about Paris? You're like, I'm just damn excited. Like, what more can you want from that, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And we're so behind you as well. So
Thank you.
watching a Nina Kennedy excitement on the runway, like it's really cool to know that that's what's going to be important for you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm not surprised that this was honestly such an incredible experience. I kind of knew that I would love this, but to sit down and talk with you about the things that matter has been a genuine privilege. You inspire me, but I know you inspire all of those people that will be listening. You have the country behind you as you head off to Paris. And I think anybody who hears this chat will be cheering that little bit louder because because we're proud regardless of the result. And that's, the whole thing we've talked about. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for spending time with us and speaking so openly and so honestly.
No, thank you. That's so lovely.
All the best. We will be cheering so loud in Tokyo.
Nice.
Pardon me, Paris. My God. We'll be cheering so loud in Paris.
We'll just cut that bit out.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nina, and all the best.
Thank you.